For my investigative project, I chose water pollution. Water pollution is any type of harmful object or chemical that pollutes any type of body of water by degrading the water quality and leaving it toxic to humans or the environment. And those types of waters could be rivers, lakes, oceans, aqueducts, etc. There are many types of water pollution. Eutrophication is one of them, which happens when fertilizers from farming seeps into waterways and causes algal blooms. Eutrophication is excessive richness of nutrients that causes excessive growth of algae. Moreover, when water pollution causes an algal bloom in a lake or marine environment, the multiplication of newly introduced nutrients stimulates plant and algae growth, which in turn reduces oxygen levels in the water. This lack of oxygen, known as eutrophication, suffocates plants and animals and can create dead zones, where waters are essentially devoid of life. The next water pollution is global warming. The temperature rises and kills sea animals and also kills coral reefs by bleaching them, which we learned about earlier this year. The next water pollution is caused by the atmosphere. In the atmosphere, water particles mix with carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxides. This forms a weak acid that is absorbed by water vapor. There are many more types of water pollution still, including underground storage leakages. These usually store substances such as petroleum, which is very damaging to surrounding environments. Another type of water pollution is marine dumping, which is including of plastic straws, plastic bags, bottles, 6-ring packs that usually hold Gatorade or some other type of pop. These are very damaging to marine animals and causes a lot of deaths because animals cannot properly digest plastic. Another type of water pollution is oil pollution. Oceans get polluted by oil daily by oil spills and dumping. Oil cannot dissolve in water and forms a thick sludge. It destroys the insulating ability of fur-bearing mammals such as sea otters and water repellency of a bird's feathers, which is exposing to them of harsh chemicals and the elements. Moving on to the effects of water pollution on human health, every year unsafe water makes around 1 billion people sick. In 2015 alone, 1.8 million people were killed due to polluted water. Diseases are spread through polluted water, including cholera, giardia, and typhoid. Also, thousands of Americans are sickened every year by Legionnaire disease. And just by swimming, you can get skin rashes, pink eye, respiratory infections, and hepatitis. And 3.5 million Americans get those every year. Now on to the effects on the environment of water pollution. Marine ecosystems are threatened by marine debris, which can strangle, suffocate, and starve animals. For healthy ecosystems to thrive, they rely on a complex web of animals, plants, bacteria, and fungi, all of which interact directly or indirectly with each other. Harm to any of these organisms can create a chain effect imperiling entire aquatic environments. Chemical dumping from industry, agriculture, and livestock farming is one of the main causes of eutrophication of water. And fishing gear is responsible for adding to the formation of floating garbage patches in our ocean, which is also very detrimental to marine ecosystems. The overall effects of water pollution are incomprehensible because we need water to survive. We need water to drink, to put on our skin, to care for the animals on our planet, because every animal has a purpose, and the more and more that go extinct, the less we are going to be able to take care of the planet. And the water that is going through our water cycle is not fully clean. It gets worse and worse as it goes through the cycle because we don't have good water to begin with, and going through trees, we don't have good air anymore, and the more pollution we put into the water, the more health risks we will have, and the more natural disasters we'll have. And even drinking polluted water reduces the competence of our immune system, which in turn makes us more prone to various viruses and diseases, and exponentially we are getting weaker and less able to fight off the damage we have created. Here are some facts about water pollution. I'm just going to list all of them off because none of them necessarily pertain to each other. More than 80% of the world's sewage finds its way into seas, rivers, and oceans untreated. The majority of plastic water pollution comes from fishing boats, tankers, and cargo shipping. Diarrheal diseases linked to the lack of hygiene causes the death of about 1,000 children per day, according to the UN. Global warming reduces the water's oxygen content. Discarded fishing gear and debris are responsible for harming over 200 species of marine life. Fertilizers are responsible for increasing cases of stunted growth in children by nearly 19%. Facts about water pollution continued. The Mississippi River carries an estimated 1.5 million metric tons of nitrogen pollution into the Gulf of Mexico every year, creating a dead zone, as I explained earlier, in the Gulf of Mexico each summer about the size of New Jersey. Let that sink in, that's insane. Approximately 40% of the lakes in America are too polluted for fishing, aquatic life, or swimming. In developing countries, 70% of industrial wastes, including petroleum, oil, etc., are dumped untreated into waters, polluting the usable water supply. About 10% of America's beaches fail to meet the federal benchmark for what constitutes safe swimming water. The annual discharge of sewage and industrial waste in the Yangtze River has reached about 25 billion tons annually. What you should do to help. You can reduce your plastic consumption and reuse or recycle plastic if possible. Here's some examples. If you go to a grocery store, you can bring your own reusable bags so that you don't have to get more grocery bags. You can get a wooden toothbrush so that you don't contribute to any more plastic in landfills, which end up in oceans a lot of the time. Fun fact, actually really sad fact, your first toothbrush that you ever got is still out there in some landfill because it will not decompose for another 100-something years. You can properly dispose of chemical cleaners, oils, non-degradable items, and keep them from going down the drain because that directly goes into the sewage, which goes into the oceans. Very bad. You can pick up after your dog if you have one, and if possible you could do it with biodegradable bags. You can also avoid applying pesticides and herbicides to your property or your garden, and that can include any plant you may have.